All right.
Okay. We're building a house and we're broke,
Yep.
basically. That's kind of a strange place to start, but there are several reasons. So, we are in Tasmania. We moved here 3 years ago. And bought land even longer ago. And we had this dream to build our own homestead, living of our own food in the garden, like many people do. That just seeking out a little bit of a different lifestyle, escaping the rat race, blah 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 blah. Not a very unique story, to be honest. But yeah, and we actually wanted to film this, and we have filmed along the way, but we never really started a channel. So this is our first video of a channel, and it starts with we're building a house and we're broke, because as you can maybe see where we're sitting is sort of a house-ish house.
It's a shell.
It's a shell of a house, and we'll show you in a bit. But yeah, that's the starting point. So what
How did we get
happened?
here?
How did we get here? What happened was we had a builder to build us a house. We had great plans. We had big ideas. Let's call it the grand design phase.
Yeah.
How about that?
That sounds good.
We basically did a great design experiment, kind of. Not an experiment. It's kind of the wrong word. We did a great design
Project.
stint where you start to build a house, everything goes well, and then the drama.
We run
The
out of
drama
money.
happens. You run out of money. You don't know how to finish it, and that's our situation. So we had a builder. We went through a year-long planning process and painful council approval process, and finally got there. Started building. When did we start? Last winter, which was we were in Australia, Tasmania, so that was around July. Really, July 2024.
Yep.
It's now
May.
May. It's now early May 2025, and yeah, so we are at lockup, so to speak. So lockup means that the structure of the house is there. We've got a slab, we've got the walls, we've got the roof, we have the wall infill, we've got sort of waterproofing around, we've got
Most of the plumbing is done.
Most of the plumbing done, and our goal and dream was we wanted to live without a mortgage. We sold a house quite well at the end of COVID in Victoria on the Surf Coast, and the plan was to change both of our careers, to get away from the 9 to 5, get away from the desk job, live healthier, eat healthier, be healthier, care about our own lives and goals a little bit more than working for someone else. And we both opened our own businesses full time, and yeah, so we're now looking at the unfortunate situation that we sort of failed that part of our goal, and have to finish the house by ourselves.
Yeah, by ourselves and with a loan.
Yeah, so that sounds depressing.
A bit.
It sounds a little bit depressing, but and it kind of is, but also it isn't. So
there's always good and bad.
For those of you who wonder, why didn't you have a building contract? We had a building contract. We had a sum fixed in there. But whatever you do, I don't know, it just seems to not add up. And there's not much really you can do other than spend even more energy and time on, forcing people to do the job at the price that they said they would. There's always a claim of things got more expensive. There's always the thing of things took longer. And
things were a bit more complex.
Yes. And while all this is actually, and I do want to turn this around to be a bit more positive though, while all this sounds really, really bad, it also is we did not build a standard house.
No.
So we did not go into that with having, that fixed price volume builder contract where everything is to the nth detail fixed beforehand and you can't change anything. We had sort of an overall number, an overall budget, and then kind of went from there. You can't do much if things just get more expensive. You want to get a house finished, then that's where you're at. You just have to get it somehow finished or to a point where it can be. So the situation was then we agreed with our builder that we would go own a builder.
For those of you who don't know what that means, it means that the people that own the house are also going to be the builder, which involves a little bit of legal stuff, and you've got to get an owner builder permit and certificate. You need to get your own insurance, and for all accounts and purposes, you, the owner, are now the same as a registered builder.
Yeah. So
with all the rights and responsibilities.
So luckily, that was stressful last 2 months, really, or 3 months. No, 2 months.
2 months.
Started sort of in March, where it really was apparent that this was the road we had to go down.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, we found an insurer. Luckily, we managed to get that process going. Luckily, we have a good building surveyor who helped us through this. And tomorrow, Monday,
mm-hmm.
we're officially owner builders, and we can then start to do some works here, which is sort of exciting. And the reason why that is exciting is that brings me back to the question why we actually haven't started filming before. It's exciting because now we feel like we can actually be responsible. We can actually take charge over what happens here when. To some extent, there'll still be stuff where we have to wait for other people to come and show and do their bits. But we can also actually feel a bit more at home again.
Yeah, it's our side.
It's our side again. It's our place. The thing is, we do live here in a sort of more camping situation at the moment, and while we're building the house, and it sort of is our place where we live, where we work, and our businesses. But also, it was quite stressful for that reason to have all these people come and go, and we're not being really
in the know.
In the know, and now we kind of can claim back the space, we can claim back our home and connect with the project a little bit more. That's the good part.
That's the great part.
Now we are fully responsible, fully broke, and
which is also the bad part.
That's also the bad part, and have to just make do and just make the most of this, the most of the situation.
Yeah.
All right, so that's where we're at. If you feel like you want to follow us along,
see us making mistakes or having little wins here and there.
Yeah, so it's probably going to be that. But we're trying to now regain and refilm and pull in a few bits and pieces. So where does it leave us now? What's actually happening?
Well, we are... It's always a trick question. We're now basically in a position where...
I just want to let you talk.
Yeah. We're in a position now where we are actually a lot further ahead than most other people that are at a lock-up stage. And that's got a lot to do with the way that this house is being built. So it's all natural building, which means that most of the insulation is already in because the walls are solid. We do have plumbing and most of the electrical stuff sorted. The floor is finished. Most of the ceiling is finished. So really, we need to add more insulation into the stud walls. We need to do the cladding of those. So that's either going to be cement sheeting or plaster work. We've got one more ceiling to do, and we're going to build a fireplace. And then it's internal things like kitchen, laundry, bathroom, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's still plenty to do. So if you want to follow along, you strap in for the long haul. It's going to take a while.
Yeah, well, it will. So that's that. Would it make more sense to actually do a walk around to show what it is that we're talking about?
I think we should.
We should. I might hand this over to you and I go behind the camera.
Okay.
And then just throw some questions.
Sure.
So maybe we're just blending in a few aerials here that we've done yesterday on a beautiful sunny day. So just you see an overview of our property first up. So we do live on 36 acres in southern Tasmania in the Huon Valley, and we have this little clearing here that you can see. We're flying around, and our house is pretty much smack bang in the middle.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we kept it with a view of the more traditional view, I guess, in a modern interpretation. We've got some stone, natural stone, local stone here. We've got the red roof, which is very common for the old cottages that
this
you'd
area.
see around in this area. We will have a sort of lightish colored render, and we have wood cladding on the upstairs, which will naturally grey, which looks pretty much like an apple shed looks like here. So this valley is historically a fruit growing valley with a lot of apples and cideries and cherries and some stone fruit, etc. So on this plot here, we have the house pretty much in the middle of the clearing. We run chickens. You can maybe see the dome up there, which is my Pilates studio. The shed at the bottom is Toby's workshop. He's a knife maker. And then the yellow bus is where we live at the moment. So that's our tiny home that we converted the bus into. And yeah, so that's where we're at the moment. So now I hand over to Toby, and we're just walking around the house and show you a little bit more in detail. So where do you want to start?
Let's do a lap around the house first.
Okay.
Well, part of it, at least.
Yeah.
We're going to walk this way. So at the moment, we're standing in front of the kitchen window, which is, it's quite amazing to have a long galley kitchen with just window views all the way over to, the river, which is kind of behind you guys at the moment. And you can see there's a lot of stonework, which, again, our builder has done an amazing job putting all these things in. This is all natural stone that was gathered either on our property or on his, and it's all local rock. Yeah, and the other thing that we need to show is our house downstairs is hempcrete. So on top of the rock wall and behind the rock wall is hempcrete, which is about a 30 centimeter thick wall. It's a natural material that is just hemp herds, lime and water, and goes really hard. This is about to get its first coat of render in a week's time, so that we're locking things up for the winter.
Yeah, so that's the first job we have to get organized, really.
Yeah.
An important job to, tidy everything up and lock everything off properly.
Make things more waterproof
Yeah.
and weatherproof for the winter time. So that's the hempcrete. When you come around to the next side, and you may have seen that on the aerial a bit, it is a double skillion roof. So it's sort of, the roof is a bit like this, which means it's a fairly modern interpretation of a house. And it's quite interesting because we're also doing a traditional post and beam structure, and most of the time you will find that they've got gables and not a big skillion roof, because you've got shorter spans. So there were a couple of challenges in doing these things and sourcing the right material, but I think that's worked out really well. I've changed my mind. Let's go inside, because outside you've seen that on the aerials, and we've got some other images we
I
can bring
quickly
in.
want to go to the round wall, though.
Okay,
Let's
go.
quickly do that before
Yep.
we go in. I might just step back to show that a little better.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
So round wall. This is one feature that we really wanted to have in the house. We didn't want something that was just sort of square. And initially we had some really funky ideas. We cut that back, and now we've got one corner of the house that's a complete 90-degree or quarter of a circle round wall. And on the inside of this wall, that's going to be where our staircase is. So we've got a rounded staircase that's wrapping around a tree trunk, and it softens the whole house. It just makes everything a little bit more flowy, I think.
Does make a huge difference
Yeah.
as well. I think it is probably one of the parts that blew the budget.
Yeah, definitely.
Not probably. It's certainly. it certainly blew the budget.
Yeah, it was a very complex thing to build
Yeah.
and to
So
calculate.
if you
out
ever
of.
build a house and you want to save money, do not build round walls.
No, definitely not.
Definitely not.
But if you like the aesthetics, it looks pretty amazing.
Yeah. All right, let's go in.
Let's go inside.
Beautiful views of the river. I hope I'm not too shaky in the camera here. It's beautiful light right now.
Yeah, it's stunning.
Amazing.
Evenings are just gorgeous.
All right, and let's go in.
All right.
I might have to change settings. Oh no,
No.
pretty good.
Oh, good. So when I said before that our house is a traditional post and beam structure, this is what we mean. Post and beam is the actual carrying element of the house. So this is where the roof rests on, whereas all the external walls are actually just an infill. And this sort of timber work is one of the specialties of our builder.
This is why we needed him.
Yeah, definitely. We really wanted to have something that is solid and grounded and just also sort of celebrates the timbers of the region, because except for these knee braces, which are Queensland timber, all the other timbers are Tasmanian.
Not just celebrating the timber of the region, but also just celebrating the traditional work,
Yeah,
the
all
craftsmanship, appreciating true craftsmanship and knowledge about how things behave and what you can do, what used to be done, what you don't see anymore. For example, these are the connectors, the dowels
Yeah.
that basically connect wooden pieces. There's no bolts anywhere
No.
other than some to the bottom of the beam here. So if you look around, you can see all these bolts still sticking out up there, and that's the traditional way. That's how we used to know it from old school European buildings,
Yeah.
and that lasted hundreds and hundreds of years, really, unless you've got water damage in it. Obviously, that's one of the things, but really, it doesn't age, and it is carrying, and it is such a work of art, and you do need someone with that knowledge and that experience. To be able to do that at that level of engineering that is required today.
Yeah.
And that's just it's just amazing how he's done that.
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
it's stunning, and the way that our builder's been able to also combine squared off timber sections, which is a bit easier, with live edge timbers and complete round timbers as well. It's amazing if you think about the maths behind all of this, and I know that we would never have been able to do it.
No, now to that tree.
Yeah,
It
no,
doesn't kind
the
of
tree.
not
The
come
tree doesn't come
across.
across, but we do actually have got a complete tree trunk that's just been debarked, and this tree is going to be the foundation pillar for our staircase. So the staircase is going to wrap around the tree and then go straight up to our second story, which we're going to talk
Yeah.
a little bit later.
So where you're standing is basically the start of the staircase, and that's where it comes around like so. Kind of can't really go around, but
No.
it goes round, 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 and then behind the tree trunk just up.
Yeah.
I think that makes a bit more sense.
It
now.
does.
Yeah. Good. So, yeah, so that's the shell from the inside, right?
That's
so we're having internal walls framed up. We're having the carrying frame, obviously. We're having the upstairs, which you see there. And some walls have bracing, some don't. We have all the inside cavities. We've got some material here already, so insulation vats that we'll have to put in. But there's a lot of material in terms of all of that stuff that we still need to get, which we'll talk about in another video, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of it. Let's just do a quick walk through to the back, actually.
Sure.
What we also have is our, some of the cabinets is just standard kitchen cabinets. A few things that will come in handy very soon. But yeah, so I don't know what else is there to say what we have. It looks a bit chaotic
It
at
is
the
a bit
moment
chaotic.
because we'll literally just dump things in here.
Yeah. I mean, we've got quite a few things already. We've
Yeah.
got our fireplace, which is something that we'll
Oh, yeah.
have to talk about in another session because it's quite interesting.
Yeah, so it's a Masonic, what do you call it?
Masonic heater.
Masonic heater, a mass heater system. But yeah, it will require probably not just one, but a couple of videos
Yeah,
to
I think so
actually,
too.
when we actually get going.
We've got a lot of things for our bathroom
Yeah, so
already.
this is the bathroom. We've got a lot of things lying around here, including a bathtub and a toilet and fixtures packed up. There's a door that goes out here onto a little patio, and then from here, the water tank is in the way. That'll be replaced somewhere else. That we've got a sauna in the back. Then this is like part of the plumbing. Obviously, you can see things are already in place. Things are in the walls. So that's all the stuff that usually at lockup, or not usually, but it's not really part to that extent. Same with the cables here. We have an electrician come in, and it's all the cables are run to where they need to be run. So that's great. We have a very special room, which is our bedroom, with a very special beam here. So again, life-edged timber beam. This is the entrance area where there may or may not be a door. And then, yeah, this is our bedroom with a round window looking out. And from here you can see the connection to over there, where you can make out the sauna, which we call Spa Island. But again, we will do another walk around.
I think so too.
Yeah. Anything else that you'd like to talk about right now?
I think this is pretty much it. I mean, this is our starting point. This is as far as we've gotten, and from here on, it's going to be us continuing on.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be an interesting thing, because from here on, whatever we start doing is going to change the appearance really quickly. It's not all the little things that, you know, involve a lot of work, but they may not be all that visible. Once you start putting in a wall and clad it in, all of a sudden your spaces change, and I'm quite excited for that.